of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and I'm coming to you live and direct from the Territorial Defense Forces Media Studios in Kyiv. You're watching Ukraine in the Know. We have a significant amount of news today, but first, breaking news from Belarus. Last month, the State Security Services, otherwise known as SBU, suggested that there was going to be a false flag attack in Belarus on the Maliar oil refinery. We can report that minutes ago, the Belarusian emergency services have stated that the oil refinery is on fire, as suggested would happen by the SBU. More on this to come. However, the provocations in Belarus were expected, especially with the advent of the Wagner war criminals. I'm not even going to call them mercenaries. They're war criminals and they're terrorists. And so with Wagner and Lukashenko teaming up, what can I say? In Belarus, this is to be expected. Luckily, we are on top of the situation and understanding that this is a false flag attack from Belarusian authorities. However, our neighbors in Poland and Lithuania are taking the threat of Wagner sabotage very seriously. And the defense minister of Poland today announced that 10,000 Polish troops would be stationed on the border with Belarus to make certain that they would not be able to cause chaos and trouble in our Polish neighbor. Moving to our front lines, Deputy Defense Minister Hanna reported this afternoon that there were hundreds of Russians dying every day in the east and south, many of them being brought to mobile crematoriums. While we don't understand the reason for the mobile crematoriums, it would seem as though it's due to the fact that Vladimir Putin's hold on the Russian public is very tenuous, and he cannot admit the staggering number of losses and the genocide that is taking place among Russians here in Ukraine. Some are being buried at a 100-hectare cemetery in the illegally and temporarily occupied areas of the south, and we expect their bodies will be returned to the families after the complete liberation of Ukraine takes place. Moving to the crackdown on corruption, we can report that a member of parliament who was caught traveling illicitly and illegally outside of the country last month has been told to wear an electronic monitoring bracelet and has been stripped of his passport. Again, crackdown on corruption continues in Ukraine. The Air Force is staying strong. We have flown again double-digit strikes against the Russian invaders. And we can also report that Germany yesterday evening announced the delivery of 2 Patriot missile batteries to Ukraine. On the transparency front, the Ministry of Finance has printed where all of the money has come from for the war budget this year. It's a combination of war bonds, grants, and loans from the IMF and World Bank, as well as investments by Ukrainians in the war bonds. The war bonds are paying as much as 10% interest on hryvnia and 3.7% on foreign currency. This is Sarah Ashton Cirillo coming to you live from Kyiv, reminding you to keep our soldiers, sailors, and pilots in your prayers, as well as to stay strong with those in the resistance who are fighting every day against the Russian invaders. Slava Ukraini!